Hello and welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into an idea that might just flip how we think about success in school. It's called value-based education. And, it could be the secret ingredient to unlocking what academic excellence really means.
So let's start with a big question. Are high grades the only thing that matters? This is a question that puts a massive amount of pressure on pretty much everyone. Students, parents, teachers. But what if that intense focus on the report card is actually making us miss the bigger picture? What if the real key to achievement is something else entirely?
So, here's our game plan for today. First, we're going to challenge that grades are everything mindset. Then we'll get right into what value-based education actually is. After that, and this is the really cool part, we'll show you how strong values literally drive better performance. Then we'll look at how to actually make it happen before we land on the ultimate goal of this whole approach.
We all know this feeling, right? That relentless pressure to get the A+, to be at the top of the class. But chasing academic perfection like that, well, it can be a pretty stressful and, frankly, incomplete way of looking at what education is supposed to be about.
Because here's the thing. Today's world needs more than just smart people. It needs good people. And so the modern way of thinking about education is way more holistic. It sees that character and intellect aren't two separate things. They're totally connected, and you really have to build them up together, side by side. All right, so that brings us right to the heart of today's explainer, value-based education, or VBE for short. Let's really break down what that means and why it's such a game changer. To put it simply, VBE is all about intentionally weaving core human values right into the curriculum. It's not a separate class. The goal isn't just about getting good grades. It's about something bigger. It's about building solid character, fostering real integrity, and helping students find a genuine sense of purpose that sticks with them for life. And when we talk about values, we're not talking about vague ideas. We're talking about concrete, really powerful stuff. Things like honesty in your work, responsibility for your own learning journey, respect for your classmates and your teachers, empathy, discipline, and maybe one of the most important ones, perseverance, the grit to just keep going when things get tough.
Now, you might be thinking, okay, this all sounds really nice, but does it actually help with the grades? And the answer is a huge, resounding yes. There is a direct link between building character and boosting academic performance. Let's take a look.
This is where it all just clicks. This isn't just a theory. It's practically cause and effect. You teach discipline and punctuality, and what do you get? Better time management for assignments and studying. You teach responsibility, well, students start taking real ownership of their own learning. When you foster empathy and respect, you get a much better classroom environment where everyone feels safe to participate. Honesty leads directly to academic integrity, no question. And perseverance, it helps build resilience, which dials down the fear of failure so students are actually brave enough to take on challenging subjects. See, it's all connected.
Okay, so we've established that this stuff works. But how do you actually do it? How do you bring value-based education to life in an already busy school? Let's get practical.
It really breaks down pretty neatly into 3 key areas for action. What you can do right inside the classroom, what needs to happen across the whole school, and finally, how the school connects with the wider community.
So first up, the classroom. This has to be deliberate. A teacher can find ways to talk about values in almost any lesson, like discussing fairness during a social studies class or responsibility in a science experiment. Using stories and biographies of role models makes these values feel real and inspiring. And I absolutely love this last idea. Having students help create their own classroom code of conduct. That gives them real skin in the game. Then you gotta zoom out and look at the whole school. Culture is everything here. You can build it by starting the day with a quick assembly focused on a specific value. And this is critical. The adults, the teachers and staff, they have to model these values too. You gotta walk the talk. It's also so important to celebrate character, not just test scores, rewarding students for showing kindness or honesty. And things like project-based learning, maybe creating an anti-bullying campaign. Make these values active, not just words on a post. And finally, this has to go beyond the school walls. Getting parents on board through workshops is huge for making sure the message is consistent at home and at school. Things like value clubs or community service projects give students a chance to put these lessons into practice in the real world. And programs like peer mentoring are just fantastic for building both responsibility and empathy.
And here's where it gets really powerful. You can connect these everyday school values to huge global goals. For example, teaching the value of responsibility is no longer just about remembering your homework. It can be directly linked to something like the UN Sustainable Development Goal for responsible consumption. And all of a sudden, a student's personal actions feel connected to a global purpose.
So when you put all these pieces together, what is the ultimate goal here? What's the end game? Well, it's a vision that goes way, way beyond the classroom or a final exam. This quote really just sums it all up perfectly. It's a reminder that academic excellence isn't the goal itself. It's the result of doing something much deeper. The real work, the real goal, is to nurture people who are ethical, who are confident, and who are well-rounded human beings.
So, I'll leave you with this to think about. Go back to that list of core values: honesty, respect, perseverance, empathy. Just pick one. What one value, if it were truly, fully embraced by everyone in your school or your community, could totally transform the way learning happens? It's a pretty powerful thought. Thanks for joining us.